100,000 people. For so many people and so many organizations, that is the number that if they could build an audience of that size online, all their dreams would come true. They'd have plenty of customers, they'd have plenty of subscribers, they'd have plenty of blog readers. All their dreams would come true. They'd sell their books, they'd do everything that they want to do. Here's the question. How do you do it? How do you get there? Hi, my name is Dylan Smith, and I have helped multiple brands grow their email list by hundreds of thousands of people. And I'm here to help share how I did. So on this video, I'm going to explain the exact 3-step process that I used to go out and to be able to grow those brands through those different strategies. It's outlined in 3 key steps. And I'm not going to break them down here. I'm going to make you watch the full video to get this most value. For many of you who are watching this video, you're my existing clients. I own a company called CMO.Church. And what we do is we help Christian organizations, church-facing organizations grow online through marketing. Technically, I call myself a fractional CMO. And if you're one of the people who are just watching this video and you got it for free, wonderful. I hope that this adds a ton of value and shows you exactly how to grow your church or your audience to 100,000 people online fast. So here is the harsh reality. Growing an audience online is harder than it ever has before. It's not easy. It's not convenient. There's no guaranteed win. And most of the time your efforts are wasted. But I have found that there are a few key ways to break through. And there are a few people who are still doing it well. So the question is, what sets them apart? And this leads me to the first step in my 3-step process. It's create. So the first step, and the process is called the CTA process because those are the 3 letters of the words. But step 1 is to create. Well, it's to create a 10 out of 10 lead magnet that's so good that it can't help but get shared and go viral. Now, why does it have to be a 10 out of 10? And why do I use the word viral? Well, I get it from Mr. Beast, actually, and it matched up with my own experience. So Mr. Beast, I've watched as many podcasts of his that I possibly can. And what he says is that his team will not make a video if they don't have a 10 out of 10 video idea, a 10 out of 10 video title, and a 10 out of 10 video thumbnail. So, and what do I mean by 10 out of 10? That's a quality score. So if you could rate the quality of something from a 1 to a 10 is the highest you can rate it. So it is of the utmost quality. Now, why does Mr. Beast have to have that high quality of a video idea, title, and thumbnail? Well, the reason is because virality and reaching people online and online content is on an exponential growth curve. So an 8 out of 10 will get 1,000 views. A 9 out of 10 will get 2,000 views. But a 10 out of 10 will get 10,000 views. So it's exponential. It's going up like this. And Mr. Beast, his team, they're just not going to make time for something if it's not going to go viral. They can't afford to put any time and energy and effort into something that's not going to go viral. So they do it. So where have I seen this play into lead magnets? Well, I want to tell you the story of 4 lead magnets. And first, I should explain what a lead magnet is. So if you're going to grow online, the single best way that I've found for reaching people online and the single best tool that I've found for building an audience is what I call a lead magnet. And all it is it's something that you give away for free in exchange for somebody's contact information. So it's their name, email, phone number, whatever you can collect. I like name, email, phone number, just because you can contact people easier that way. But a lead magnet is anything that you give away for free in exchange for that information. So over the years, I've launched a lot of lead magnets. And what I found is that most do nothing because most of them are a 9 out of 10 or less. But for every, few that I've launched, there's been one that's a 10 out of 10. And this is where the tale of 4 lead magnets come in. So the 4 lead magnets. I was working for a leadership podcast and we wanted to grow our email list. We were at about 70,000 and we wanted to make that grow a lot. So one day we're recording a podcast and it was a list of 8 habits. And with this lead magnet, I listened to part 1 of the podcast and I said, this needs to be a lead magnet. Just a 1-page guide outlining the 8 habits. So we turned that into a guide and we immediately tested it with our audience. And immediately just explosive reaction. I think in the first month, we got 4,500 free signups, and then it just went up and to the right from there. So it got more and more popular over time, not less. And today, that lead magnet has been downloaded over 150,000 times. It may have crossed 200,000 times by now. Crazy. like insane. Now, it started organic and then we added paid ad traffic to that. And I can talk about that later, but that was lead magnet number one. That was definitely a 10 out of 10. So we said, okay, let's try this again. If one worked, maybe we can try another one. So we went and we launched lead magnet number two. Now, lead magnet number two, it didn't do as well. We launched it. It was actually the worst performing of the four. And we did the exact same strategy, same pitch in the podcast, same email to the email list. And we only got 600 people to download instead of the 4,500 in the first month using the same exact strategy. So 600 to 4,500. That is like significantly higher, exponential difference. We launched two more lead magnets and both of them were closer to 600 than they were 4,500. But they were all like potentially those following three were actually more valuable resources. They just weren't 10 out of 10s. They didn't have a viral hook and a viral idea undercutting them. So the question is, how do we figure out what a 10 out of 10 is if we're going to create it? And this is where I teach people to look at your past for success, because the internet never lies. But man, we get it wrong all the time. So my boss and my old friend, Carrie Newhoff, he taught me that it's the blog posts that you don't expect to crush are the ones that always explode. And it's the ones that you work really hard on, spend 15 hours writing the blog post, labor over it. That's the one that you're going to launch. It's going to be crickets afterwards. So the question becomes like, so then if we're terrible predictors of internet virality, how do we know what's going to go viral? And the answer, the best answer that I've found is look for past virality. So look through your social posts, look through the emails that you've sent. If you haven't done either of those things, look at your competitors and see what of their social media posts have gone viral. See like if they usually get 100 likes and one got 300, see what felt need it's hitting and what promise it's meeting and what hook it's using. Then take those things from your past successes or your competitors' past successes and say, this is what, this is the angle that our lead magnet needs to serve. And then there's a few things to get specific on with that lead magnet. So what you want it to be is you want it to be quick value. So like something that people perceive as like, that will add value to my life in 30 seconds or less. 8 habits was great. That list of 8 habits was great, because somebody could read that list, print it off, put it on their desk, and bam, 30 seconds, their life is better because they have this checklist of habits that they can check every day. So that's what we're trying to do, is we're trying to get to quick, fast value. So that's one thing that you're looking for. Then in the create process, you have to build a landing page. Now I like to do this with kit.com, but you can use any landing page build. Lead pages, go high level, like there are dozens of them out there, different price points, all that kind of stuff. Also AI, if you use tools like Replit, like I use Replit, I pay $25 a month and AI will literally build you a landing page for you. It's crazy. So what you want to do is you want to build a landing page, and the structure, I'm going to use my hands on the screen to show you how it's laid out. You want that headline at the top that has a verb and then a promise. So get the 8 habits of great leaders here, or get the free guide to blah, 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 make a big promise on the header. This headline is doing 80% of the work. So you want the landing page to have a headline at the top, some copy over here, some like text. That's like when you download the guide, you'll get this value prop, this value prop, this value prop, and then a little form for email. And then over here, you want a creative. You want an image or something of the lead magnet that drives value. So that promises value. So those are the 3 things. You want that on the landing page and nothing else. You want no other clickable links, no other information. All you want is that, because every option you give people outside of that is actually going to lower conversion rates. So why so simple? And the answer is we went and tested dozens of landing page structures. We tested all different kinds of flows, all different kinds of looks. And what we found is the simpler the landing page, the fewer items we included, the higher the conversion rate went. And I think the reason why is because people have already made a decision to get your free thing when they land on the landing page. They clicked your ad, they listened to your podcast and said, yeah, I'll go to that URL and get the free guide or whatever. So all they need when they land on your page is clear instructions on how to download the guide. And that's why you do name, and then form fill right here with like brief instructions on how to get the guide. And so with that landing page, you also want to build a follow-up sequence. So once somebody fills out the form, you want a thank you page to pop up that's like, hey, thanks so much for downloading the guide. Check your email. It may be in your spam folder, but make sure that you get the guide in your inbox. So, and the reason that we want to do that is because we want them to build the habit of checking your emails, to opening your emails. You want to do that. So build it like that, set that up. You want to structure it that way, healthily, all that kind of stuff. Then in the email that delivers to their inbox, just keep it simple. Just say, hey, thanks so much for downloading the guide. Here's the link to the free resource. If you want more, and then tell them about your top offer, your most valuable offer, the quickest way to get somebody to be a paying customer, and set that up. Keep this simple because all we're doing is creating the landing page right now for step 2. So what is step 2? You've done step 1, which is create. You've created a landing page and a lead magnet that is a 10 out of 10. Now it's time to test. So how do you test a lead magnet that's going, and how do you know if it's going to go viral or not? That's the question. And the number that I'm looking for is you want to compare. So first, to test, you want to send some traffic, whether that's through an email list that you already have, by posting it on social media, or running a little bit of an ad budget to it. You want to get about 100 people to visit the site. And then when you get 100 people to visit the site, look at how many of them converted. So the fastest way that I do this is I just look at the Google Analytics of a page compared to the form submissions of a page. And in Google Analytics, you want to look at unique viewers, not total page views. So unique people viewed the page compared to the unique number of people who signed up for the form. That will give you a conversion rate. Now, when you get that conversion rate, industry standard, which is a garbage metric to base off of anyways, because the industry is bad, is 20%. I'm looking for 40 plus minimum. So 40 plus is how you know that you have a 10 out of 10 resource. You have something that's going to go viral, take over the world, and grow your audience. So 10 out of 10s, they're hard to come by. And I want to tell you a quick story to illustrate this. So when I was working for Carrie, my old mentor and boss and friend, I was responsible for one of our WIGs, which is a wildly important goal, of growing our email list. And our email list had stayed stagnant for like 6 months. It was like right at 55,000 people. And that's like January 2020, we set the goal. It stays stagnant until March. And we're right at 55,000. We bounce up to 57, back down to 56, like just hop in that area. Then COVID hits, and Carrie, in a stroke of genius, decides, me and him both, like we work like 14-hour days for 2 weeks right after COVID hits. And we say, okay, let's build a free course and then take that free course and give it away to our entire audience. And the free course is how to lead through crisis, because pastors have never led through a crisis like this before, and we need to teach them how to do it well. So we made this course and immediately goes viral. It's 10 out of 10. It's got a high conversion rate. Like the number of people who land on the page to sign up is incredible. So that conversion rate was killer, 40% plus. And our email list exploded. So it went from 55,000 to like 63,000 in like a month. And then it kept growing after that. It was crazy how fast of a jump that did. And then we did it again 6 months later with the online church engagement summit, where we launched this free for anyone to come. Pastors we heard from pastors for both the How to Lead Through Crisis and Online Church Engagement Summit was, I brought my whole team here. I'm so excited about this free thing. And that's how you know you have a 10 out of 10, when people are so quickly sharing it, and that's the virality of it. So that's what you're testing. So the logical question then would be, well, what happens if it doesn't hit 40%? And the answer is you've got to tweak the landing page. If it's under 10%, you probably need to scrap the lead magnet altogether and build a whole new one. If it's above 10%, it might be salvageable. And the thing that you do is you would change the headline first, because that is doing 80% of the work of the landing page. So radically change the headline to something different and then test it again. And send another 100 people to the page. And you want to also, this is an important note, you want to test with warm traffic. So you want to test with people who like already know you, already know your brand, already trust you, because that will help you get to that 40%. And this will really help you identify whether this is a hit with your existing audience or not. So testing 40% all that kind of stuff. Yeah, updating the headline. So you want to update the headline first. And if that doesn't get you above 40%, you may test it again. And if that doesn't work, you may need to go back and recreate the lead magnet to a new offer, I cannot emphasize enough that it's important to do your research on the past and figure out what has performed well in the past before you build your lead magnet. Because it's expensive to go from step 1 to step 2, step 1 to step 2, to step 1 to step 2, over and over. So you want to get it right on the first 2 or 3 attempts. And that's why it's so important to run these, to look for the 10 out of 10s. And it's also key to run these tests because of step 3. Now, so let's assume that you do make enough tweaks or you nail it on the first try and you get a 40% plus conversion rate. How do you get it out into the world? What's next? And this is step 3, the one that I call amplify. So I've got to give credit where credit is due. Alex Raymond, this guy, this is his book, $100 Million Leads, the single best business book I've ever read. And what I love about this book as a marketer is it outlines the 4 ways that all businesses can reach new customers. And it's the only 4 ways. So in all of the strategies fit under the umbrella of one of these 4. So what are the 4 ways and why do they relate to lead magnets? Well, once you finish testing, you amplify your lead magnet to literally everyone you could tell about it. And you send them all to the landing page. Now, but what if they're already on my email list? Why would I send them to the landing page? And the answer is because email lists deteriorate at 18% a year. So when you get old subscribers to land on a new landing page and fill out their email address again, there's a good likelihood that you get a new email address from them that's better than their old email address. So that's one. Another reason is because they share that email that you send them with other people. And you want those referrals, those viral shares, to also collect email addresses. That won't happen if you just embed the file in there. So that's why you want to amplify it. Anyways, so how do you amplify? What are the core 4? Why did I grab this book? The core 4 are warm outreach, cold outreach, posting free content, and running paid ads. Every marketing strategy fits under one of those 4 buckets. And what you need to do as a brand or as a marketer or as a church or whatever you do, you need to decide, okay, which of the core 4 am I going to use to grow my business? Now, the one that I love the most is warm outreach. And the reason why, because when you do warm outreach, you test the market. You figure out, okay, this promise hits, this offer doesn't. When I said that combination of words, they didn't get interested. And what warm outreach, well, I should explain what warm outreach is. So a lot of you could tell by the name. Warm outreach is literally just reaching out to people who are already warm. So they're already familiar with you. You have permission to text them. Most people have a warm outreach list of 2,000 to 3,000 people. Just when you combine your Facebook friends, all the contacts in your emails, and then your phone contacts, like in your text list. So when you have those 3 things and combine them all together into one really long list, those are your warm contacts. And what you do is you reach out to them one by one and you say, hey, I just made this free thing. It's meant to do this thing. Would you be interested? You can get it here. And just send them the link. So that's warm outreach. If you have more time than money, using a combination of warm outreach and cold outreach is what I'm going to recommend. If you have more money than time, I recommend running paid ads or posting free content. So cold outreach, what is that? And how is that different than warm outreach? Cold outreach is doing the exact same thing as warm outreach, except instead of reaching out to people that you know, you're reaching out to people that you don't know. And the key levers that you have to use here is you have to build trust and add value immediately. So in your first message, you have to give them a reason to trust you and give them a reason to listen to you. So what you do is you explain the value that you've brought to someone like them, or a connection that you have with them, or some way that you've helped someone in their situation and how you plan on helping them as well. And you need to say it right away. That's the challenge with cold outreach. I personally don't recommend cold outreach unless it's a last resort. And the reason why is because cold outreach is incredibly time consuming. And you as a marketer, you as a business owner, you as a leader cannot waste your time doing cold outreach on a one-to-one basis. Luckily, You can go one to many. And how you do this is posting free content online on like Facebook, social media, or sending emails to your email list, or running paid ads. Well, that's where you're buying attention. And I think that those two are the much stronger ways to reach mass numbers. If you already have an email list, if you already have a podcast, if you already have whatever, if you already have an audience, posting free content and then delivering it to that audience is one of the highest leverage things you can do. And once your lead mag is converting at 40+%, it is worth posting everywhere and talking about it all over the place. And that is why we post free content, is because we want to get the word out about it and we want to drive value. A neat little nugget about posting free content that I want to share with you as well is that the numbers you're looking for is 1174. So you want 11 interactions with that person across 7 hours of content across 4 different platforms. And why you want that is because after that amount of time, someone likely trusts you enough to have a, not sales conversation, but to consider buying from you. So like if you think about your favorite author or your favorite artist or your favorite brand, whatever, you've probably seen them more than 11 times and you've probably spent more than 7 hours with them, whether it's listening to a podcast, watching them on YouTube, whatever. And then you've probably seen them across 4 different platforms and they feel like they're omnipresent to you. For me, that's Alex Hormozi. I've listened to 700 hours of his content across every channel possible. And the same thing is true of you. And maybe you're doing that with me right now and watching this content, but you want that. And that's like a neat little nugget with posting free content is that's what you want to race to, because once you've done that, you've probably built enough trust with someone for them to know whether they're a good fit for you or not. In your business or your offer or your church or whatever. So posting free content and then running paid ads. I love meta ads. Most of you who are watching this video probably found out about me because of a Facebook ad. I love them. I think that they're the most cost-effective form of advertising right now. And it works for anyone on any budget, which is great. So running paid ads. When you've run out of warm contacts to reach out to, when you've already sent your lead magnet landing page to everyone on your email list a few times, and you've already posted about it on social media 27 times, your only option is to run paid ads to reach more people. So this is what we got to do. And for us, when we were building our email list, we gained 25,000 organic signups for the lead. And then we saw that organic momentum was an indicator of paid success. So we took that organic winner, the one lead magnet that did well, and we put ad dollars behind it. And it reached not just 25,000 people, but another 100 and some thousand people. So it went out into the world. And that was the power of paid advertising, as we were able to reach people for 50 cents a lead. And so we were able to pay 50 cents and just get tons of new email contacts in our inbox. It was beautiful and wonderful. Awesome. If you have questions about Facebook advertising, shoot me a message. I would be glad to help you. I also have a friend who's an expert at it that I work with a lot. So that is the posting free content. And that is the end of part 3 of my 3-part CTA process, which is the process that we use to grow our email list by multiple hundreds of thousands of people. I primarily focused on the leadership podcast that I worked for. I didn't even tell you about the platform that serves churches that I worked on that grew from 100,000 people to 700,000 people before I left. And that's another day for another conversation. But we use the same strategy, lead magnets, to grow that audience. And we think you should too. So I'd love to help, whatever that looks like for you in your organization, whether it's growing revenue, growing whatever. Just go to my website at CMO.Church and grab some time on my calendar. I'd be glad to help, glad to serve organizations like yours. I am pretty busy as a fractional CMO, but I'm always glad to add 30 minutes of free value to your life and just help you, point you in the right direction. And if it makes sense, if your organization's big enough to hire me on as a fractional CMO, we can have that conversation as well. But yeah, these calls are always just about adding value to you. So CMO.Church, that's CMO, the letters, .church. And I'll see you there. All right. Be sure to subscribe and like this video down below and share it with someone that you think this will help. All right. Talk to you later.